Greetings, beautiful people. This is SB Favor Thinking Podcast, and my name is SB Favor. Well, today is Tuesday, September 15th, 2020. I hope that everybody is having a good day. My day has been very good and just blessed. I'm so thankful. Thankful because guess what? It could be something else that's contrary, right? But it was good, so I'm thankful. And I have Rebecca here again. It's Tuesday. This is Rebecca's day. How you doing, Rebecca?
Hi, SB. I am doing wonderful and very happy to be here with you this evening.
Great. Well, there's a few things on my mind, but I wanted to talk about the Andrew Gillum story. I was talking about it yesterday during the podcast, and I wanted to talk about it a little bit more this evening because I just think that we need to stop condemning one another. And so I wanted to ask you, Rebecca, what's your take on the story? I had mentioned it to you earlier, and so I just wanted to ask you, when it comes to the whole story itself, what I explained to you and what you know about it, what do you think about it?
Well, listening to a little bit of the clip and watching Andrew and his wife uh, and speaking to one another, this is a situation or perhaps a way of life that Andrew has had. He's a very educated man.
Yes, he is.
And I believe that he had made a statement, of him being, I believe it was bisexual, correct?
Yes,
he
bisexual.
also has some male tendency feelings.
Mm-hmm.
And it's something that was between him and his wife. His wife knew about it. She supported her husband.
Mm-hmm.
But he was a faithful husband. And they have a good marriage, and he is a hard worker, an educated man. And, from what I saw, and from what I hear that happened to him, I feel that this gentleman was taken advantage of. I feel that he was set up. I feel that someone is trying to defame him. And it shouldn't have happened that way. It should have happened that way, and that's my take on that.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree with you because we all have our faults and we all have done things that we are not proud of. And, listeners, I'm sure many of you have done things that you are not proud of. And have you ever been in a situation where you have needed forgiveness? Have you been in a situation in your life where you've done something and you just wanted to make it right and somebody held something over your head? I'm sure that wasn't a good feeling. So when I think about Andrew Gillum, I think about someone that just needs an extension of mercy and grace. Because at the end of the day, that's between him and his wife. He doesn't owe anybody an explanation. Yes, he's a public figure. Yes, we would like for him to set a good example. Of course, he's a politician, right? But he doesn't owe anybody an explanation. The only one he has to answer to is his wife, his children, and God. So I'm not into tearing people down and just speaking negative about them and criticizing them and looking at them as if they're some kind of monster because of what the media says about them. I'm not into that. I think that a lot of people don't understand why his wife is supporting him. They don't understand that type of love, Rebecca. They don't understand that extension of grace. Some people are like, oh, I don't understand why she's got his back. I would just leave and I wouldn't deal with him and I this and that. But I guess some people talk that way because they don't understand what mercy and grace is.
She loves her husband.
She does.
SB. She loves her husband. And one thing that I picked up on when I was listening to the clip
Mm-hmm.
was that she knew who she was marrying.
That's
So
right.
it wasn't like Andrew came and did something behind her back or something shady or something like he was hiding. He discussed these things with his wife,
That's right.
and she married him. Now, one of the things she did say was, now, if I would have known that this would have been in the public spotlight, and I had to deal with this type of a spotlight being out there in public, would I have married him? She said, I don't know. That's what she said. But she married him. Right. She loves her husband. And, you know, in a way, it's a shame that you know, they have to even come out. But they are, because they want to show the public, you know, we have nothing to hide.
That's right.
We're coming out and we're speaking. And I think what more we should think about and discuss is, you know, what were the true motives behind the people that maliciously did what they did.
Exactly. You know, one of the things that I admire about Andrew Gillum is that he made a decision to be accountable publicly. What if he just would have said, "Oh, I didn't do it," and just let the media just run with it and didn't say anything? But the fact that he decided to sit down with Tamron Hall and be very transparent about it and open about it, because Tamron Hall said that there was no question she couldn't answer. She said, you know, she could ask him anything, and he was willing to answer. So I just thought that his accountability toward the matter was healthy, and it's a start toward his healing and whatever he needs for his life, his future, and his marriage. But I think that what gets me is that about the public is that when people fall short and people know about somebody's faults, they throw a person under the bus. They put their foot on them, and people forget about their own faults. People forget about the fact that when they done wrong, God forgave them. God covered them. God gave them a second chance. What about that? So this man he's a public figure, and some people are looking at him like, oh well, you know, he just needs to be in the gutter. No, he doesn't.
He doesn't.
Am I giving him a pass for what he did? No, I'm not, because he does have to be responsible for his actions, and you know, like he said, he drank too much, but at the same time, he's human, and we all make mistakes, and because we make mistakes, we shouldn't be condemned. So I believe that, you know, he should be forgiven. He should have the opportunity to continue to pursue whatever his political goals are. He shouldn't just, you know, not continue with whatever his vision is for his life just because he fell short. We got other people in government that's doing worse things than that. Okay? So, I mean, I just think that when you see somebody down, or when you see somebody with a fault, when you see somebody going through something, struggling with something, we shouldn't condemn them. We shouldn't put our foot on them. We should position ourselves to restore that person. We should position ourselves, whether it's somebody in our family, our friends, or our co-workers, we should position ourselves to restore that person. And what I mean by that is speak life to them. Don't try to tear somebody down just because you know something about their faults or know something about them that they did in secret. Don't try to tear a person down like that. Because if a person gets joy out of doing something like that, I call that a dark heart. I call it a wicked heart. Because there is no joy in tearing somebody down. When you see someone is struggling with something, has a personal fault, or something you may know they may be dealing with in secret, that's not an opportunity to go gossip and talk about them and put them down and make them look bad. That's an opportunity to speak life to them, build them up. Even if
Yes.
even if the person never talked to you about the fault, maybe it could be something that you might be aware of and nobody else is aware of it. It could be something like that. And you still can be in a position to restore that person. You can speak life to them, you can pray for them, you can make sure that every time you see them, you make them feel good about themselves. I just have a problem with people tearing other people down when they have fallen short. And the media and social media, everything is going crazy with Andrew Gillum, Andrew Gillum. And the reason why I'm talking about this is because I just want people to understand that when you see somebody down or when you see somebody at fault, like I said a minute ago, you have the opportunity to restore them, speak life to them, pray for them. Don't put your foot on them. Don't sit back and gossip and rejoice over somebody's hurt. Obviously, when you see somebody dealing with some type of struggle, that simply means that there's pain present. And so, we just got to do better, and we talk about all this stuff that's going on in the news and the Black Lives Matter and the racial divides and all this stuff going on. And then this right here concerning him is another issue. Another issue of another black man, in my opinion, being torn down. But I don't want to make it seem like it's about race either. Well, I gotta say that because I know sometimes people just hear things the wrong way. I'm not making it about race. I'm saying it like that because black men get torn down. But even if it was a man of another race, I would say the same thing because I don't like to see people torn apart, especially if they're trying to do better. So Rebecca,
I agree with you, SB.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with you 100%. Mm-hmm. That saying was, don't kick me while I'm down.
Yes.
Right? It's like I fell, I'm down, but on top of that, now you're going to kick me.
Exactly.
Number one. Number two, I say to myself, how many media reporters on out there on the news station. A few of them, come to my mind
mm-hmm.
that openly came out about their sexuality.
Yeah, it's a few of them. Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And now that I'm older, I don't dislike. Or it didn't prevent me from watching their reports. It didn't take away their expertise. It didn't take away their knowledge.
Right.
This particular gentleman, Andrew, this is an educated man. He has a passion for the people.
Yes, he does.
He has a passion for the people of Florida.
Mm-hmm.
So this situation should not be viewed as him being not capable of continuing the job that he so wants to do.
That's true.
Which is to be in the community and be out there and work for the goal of the community. And another thing I want to say is too, young people have to also realize that there is diversity. a few weeks ago, we talked about, ethnic diversities. We talked about some racism,
Yeah.
and we also need to be careful. We need to be careful that we don't bully people either, because someone comes out and may want or have a desire or have some inclination towards the same sex. Okay, we need to be careful that we don't purposely sabotage them, to destroy them, defame them, whether it's verbally or physically, because that's being a bully. That's harassing them, and we shouldn't. And I liked what you said earlier before we came on the air.
Mm-hmm.
You said, as Christians, we need to stay in our lane.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And on this matter, I know from my own experience that I can say, it's easy to be judgmental. It's easy to say, you know what, he should no longer be a part of politics. Matter of fact, his wife should leave him. Sure, it's
Right.
easy to say that, but you know something? It's not the right thing to do, because as a Christian, I have to love. I may not agree with
Mm-hmm.
your idea or your opinion,
Mm-hmm.
or perhaps your ideology, but I love you. I love you, and I was one to perhaps at one point in time in my life,
Right.
ridicule and condemn someone. But you know what? That don't help. That
No, it
doesn't
doesn't.
help anybody, and it certainly doesn't help the kingdom of God. So, just to that, I wanted to throw that out there.
That's true. His wife, she represents strength and honor. And the reason why is because when you decide to love someone, you don't decide to love them only when the sun is shining. You decide to love them no matter what they're going through. And the fact that she sat there and just answered questions and just spoke in such an eloquent way to say whatever was necessary to the public, I just loved every minute of it because
Very graceful.
very graceful, very graceful. And she just represented such just virtue, And for that person out there that thinks that I'm giving him a pass, no, certainly not. I'm not giving him a pass at all. I'm just speaking from a place of mercy, and I'm speaking from a place of understanding, because if you've ever gone through something in your life where people have tried to condemn you or put you down or speak negatively about you, then then I'm sure you will understand what I'm talking about. Because none of us are perfect. None of us are without fault. We all have something that we have to be accountable for, whether it's something publicly that people know about or whether it's something in secret. I don't care if you've been in the church for 60 years of your life. You're still not perfect. Right. You're not perfect. Nobody is perfect. And the sad part about all of this is that sometimes the people that say they know God or say that they love God will be the first ones to say something negative about this man. He needs to be covered. He needs to be prayed for. His family needs to be prayed for. His wife needs to be prayed for. We need to look at him as if it's our brother, our uncle, our cousin. That's how we need to look at this man. I don't care, even if it wasn't him that it happened to, it could have been somebody else. I would still say the same thing, because I just believe in not tearing people down. I see too much of that. Sometimes when a story breaks, I listen and look for comments about what people are saying. I like to see what people are saying. And sometimes people just talk crazy.
Mhm.
They just,
Yes.
I
Yes.
mean, they talk like they don't have a brain to think. And I start saying to
Mhm.
myself, what, where these people come from? And I know that we all been raised different. Some of us, we've been exposed to different things. All of us.
Mhm.
But what I'm saying is that any good that you know to do it.
That's
I
right.
mean, some people haven't been exposed to a lot of good things at all, but we still have something inside of us that we can draw
That's
from
right.
that is good. All of us.
That's right.
Some
Amen.
some people say, "Oh, well, I'm like this because I've been through some things and I'm just the way I am." No, you don't have to be like that. You don't always have to speak negative. You don't always have to gossip about somebody and put your mouth on somebody and say something that's evil and terrible about somebody. You don't have to do that. You can speak life if you really want to speak life. But like I said, the condemnation is why I'm talking about this. I don't like to see people feel condemned. I don't like to see people feel like nobody's on their side when they fall short, when they make a bad decision or choice or mistake. I like to see people get up and keep on running. I don't like to see people down. So, Rebecca, have you ever experienced something where you've seen somebody condemning somebody else, or you overheard a conversation, or maybe in your own personal life? Have you ever experienced that?
Well, of course. Absolutely. I in the beginning of this topic and this conversation, comes very clearly something in my life personally that I remember that was taken the wrong way. Um, and I was accused, and I was condemned.
Wow.
And it actually put a wedge in relationships um, with family members.
Mm-hmm.
And every once in a while, I do think about it. I do think about it.
Mm-hmm.
But I have come to terms that you have to have a clear conscience. If you
Yes.
have a clear conscience, and you could basically declare
Mm-hmm.
or give your reasoning behind something or explain yourself,
Right.
just like Andrew Gillum did and his wife, right?
Yes, he
So
did.
they went and they talked, they explained themselves.
Right.
Now they did what they felt they had to do, what they wanted to do.
Right.
Now it's up to the recipient to now choose what they're going to do with what they just heard, right?
Right.
Some people are going to be, wow, now I'm going to pray for him. I'm going to pray for Andrew. God
Right.
bless him.
Right.
At least he's open about this, right?
Right.
May he continue with his career. May God bless his wife, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or I could choose and I could say, oh, wow, he'll never get my vote for nothing.
Right.
Oh, he should, his wife should leave him, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it all depends. Some people, no matter how much you explain, no matter how much you choose to explain yourself
Mm-hmm.
and give the reasoning behind things, some people will choose not to accept it.
That is
Some
true.
people will choose to condemn you anyhow. And you know what you got to do to those people? You just got to keep on walking. Keep on going forward. Keep on reaching the stars. Keep on going ahead. Keep on reaching your dream. Keep on fighting hard. And you know what? They don't need to tag along with you. It's their loss and your gain. That's my stance. So yes, I do know what it's like to be condemned for things that I have not done. And I also know what it's like to condemn someone
Mm-hmm.
And I have had to kind of take the bitter pill,
Mm-hmm.
and realize with much pain that that was the wrong attitude that I took. Because you have to make a choice. Do I want to lose this child?
Mm-hmm.
Do I want to lose this friend or family member? Do I want to condemn them? Let's think about it.
Yeah.
Condemnation basically is punishing someone.
That's right.
Sentencing them, giving them a sentence. And you know what? I am no one to sentence anyone or punish them. I'll leave that for the mighty God.
Absolutely.
And we need to give everyone an opportunity, to reflect, make a change if they wish to.
Right.
And if they don't, I could love them and I could support them in every way that I can and lift them up, love them more, be there for him. Don't change how you speak to them or how you treat them just because of a lifestyle or a choice that they made that you didn't agree with.
Exactly.
Because let me tell you something, when we change our behavior, you know what? We're actually saving people. We're saving friendships. We're saving relationships. And we're learning to love with no conditions.
Absolutely. And forgiveness is the key factor also. When somebody falls short and they're accountable, then they are positioning themselves to be forgiven. So forgiving the person restores the relationship. Now, if the person doesn't take accountability for their actions, that's something different. You can still forgive them and not even discuss it. But when somebody is humble enough to confess their faults and be accountable, guess what? Forgive them. Let it go. I'm not saying if they do something to you that's abusive that you're supposed to just keep forgiving and keep them in your life. No, that's not what I'm saying. Well, what I'm saying is when someone is accountable for their faults, we should immediately forgive them, not hold it over their head, not keep reminding them, oh, you did this to me in 1992. You did this to me in 2001. What is that? You know what I call that?
That's right.
I call that rehearsing hurt.
That's right. Holding a grudge.
That's right. Because when you forgive someone, even if you think about it, you don't bring it back to the table to make them eat it again. Because when you forgive them, you let it go. If you have a record of it in your own mind and your heart, you don't have to bring it to the table. But if you bring it to the table, that means you haven't forgiven. Because it means that it's hovering over your mind, and as soon as you have the opportunity to spit it out, you spit it out again. So what I'm saying is forgive. And Andrew Gillum, he needs to be forgiven, restored, and guess what? The public needs to move on because the man has humbly confessed his faults. And for those of you out there that's thinking, oh, I wouldn't forgive him. Well, you just choked your own self.
That's right.
You just choked your own self by saying, oh, I'm not going to forgive. Because that's what it is. When you choose not to forgive, that's like choking your own self. You're not choking a person that you're not forgiving. You're choking yourself because forgiveness is for you. So I just want all to be well with him, with Andrew Gillum and his family. And I just, like I said, I just don't like to see people stepped on. You know what I mean, Rebecca? I don't like I just have a problem with that.
And tear people down. And you know what? I want to say, I have to add this, please. Mm-hmm. When you said about forgiveness, mm-hmm. You know, when I was condemned and I was not forgiven, mm-hmm. You know what? I chose to forgive them for not forgiving me. Ooh, isn't that good? I'll say, you know what? You're not going to forgive me, but guess what? I forgive you for not giving me. I'm going to free myself.
Amen to
from
that.
that pain and from that condemnation and from that guilt of something that I didn't even do.
Oh my
So you know
God.
what? You know what? This is my message to Andrew and his wife. If they don't forgive you, forgive them and keep on moving.
Well, you know, the public, like you said earlier, the public, they, you know, it's always going to be somebody out there that have something to say. And we all have a right to our opinion. You know, we all have a right to our opinion. You know, if you don't like something, you have a choice to just keep it moving. That's just like, you know, if you listening to this podcast right now, you may not agree with us. You can just turn us off, right? Amen to that. God bless you.
Right. That's right.
But you know, we're gonna speak what is just and good and right and wholesome. And you know, I just believe that forgiveness and restoration is better than putting your foot on somebody until they bleed blood. Come on now. You know, because somebody forgave you. Somebody forgave you. It was a time in your life where you needed a second chance and somebody helped you. Somebody forgave you. Somebody covered you. Love covers a multitude of sin. Love covers that. Not condemnation, not trying to make somebody feel guilty. No, love covers a multitude of sin. And then from that, there is restoration for every relationship, for every marriage, for every family member. When you love, when you forgive, there is restoration. When you don't love and you don't forgive, you basically choking you choking yourself.
That's right.
You know, so you have anything else you want to share, Rebecca?
You know, that word just keeps on coming. Restoration.
That's
you know,
right.
That when any of us are at fault. See, because we all have some fault. And we sin every day.
Yes, we do.
Okay? No one is perfect. There's only one. And when we come in a situation where someone's at fault, you know, the Bible says, restore them in love. Right? So, you know, I have my granddaughter with me, right? It's not too long ago she did something. And I was angry with her. But you know, I had to explain to her. But then I also had to restore her in love. And you know, condemnation is sentencing someone, punishing them.
Yes, it is.
For a bad act. Check this out. A bad act. Okay? Okay. This gentleman had his choices, and this gentleman, you know, maybe drank too much and put himself in a position for people to take advantage of him. Because that's what they did.
Taking pictures.
Okay? They took advantage of him.
Right.
Okay? But, you know, when you purposely do a bad act to harm yourself or others, this is not considered that at all. But for whatever the situation is, when someone does come and they humbly come before you and they publicly declare and they share their feelings, that's a big step. That is admirable. And I feel and I believe wholeheartedly that we are to restore them in love.
Yep.
And that's all I got to say. Restore people with love. And you know what? As Christians, and I am a Christian, let's pray for one another. Let's pray. That's more the reason and an opportunity to pray for those that are in office. To pray for our fellow citizens that are in the public eye and who have a passion for the community and the state of Florida, the state of New York, or wherever. Let's pray for them. Let's pray for them.
Yeah, because speaking negative and, you know, criticizing them, that's just powerless. That's powerless. So, you know, we have a responsibility to just do better. And the reason why I wanted to do this podcast is because I just believe in focusing more on the solutions and not just the problems, to be inspired. And I just hope that something good comes out of what Andrew has gone through. I hope that his words that he spoke during the interview, I hope that somebody's life is changed, and I hope that somebody else has the courage to come out and be honest with their husband, their wife. I hope that his wife, her words, I hope that her words help someone as well. I hope that everything that he is going through, I pray that it's not in vain. I pray that something good comes out of it, because all of us are on a journey in this life, and we don't know what we're going to go through. We don't know what's going to happen sometimes one day to the next. Sometimes we make good choices and sometimes we make bad choices, but you never know what the day will bring. Like my mother once said to me, she said, you never know what the day will bring. And he didn't think that something like that would happen, but it did. And so now that it has happened, I just hope the best for him and his family. And listeners, I appreciate you for taking the time to tune in to As We Favorite Thinking podcast. Rebecca has been my co-host here the last month and a half, and I'm just having a good time talking to you. And you got to stay with me, Rebecca. You got to stay with me.
I'm staying with you. I'm staying with you. And I have to say, this has been an enlightenment for me today.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this topic and this situation.
Mm-hmm.
I have to say that you are inspiring. Your podcast is inspiring.
Thank you.
And you are motivating, me included, to inspire and to continue to inspire others, no matter what the circumstances may bring. So I salute to you, SB, honestly.
Thank you. And you know what? I feel like I have to inspire others, because when I inspire others, that's when I'm inspired the most. Because I have days where I'm not 100% all the time. I would be lying if I said that. But what happens is, when I wake up in the morning, I wake up with the attitude of just trying to do the best I can. And I'm always thinking about the lives of others. And so when I decided to do this podcast, I said, I've been through some things, and I can pass the baton to others that need it, just like somebody passed the baton to me. And we're supposed to exchange knowledge. We're exposed to exchange experiences, right? And so that's what it's all about. So that's the primary reason why I did this podcast. And it's really been a blessing to me. I appreciate all of the listeners. I thank you so much for the positive feedback and your comments. I appreciate you, because every time somebody says something about the podcast, I just get motivated all over again. Because like I said, I'm not always 100% motivated all the time. I wake up and I got to push myself just like anybody else. And once I pray and talk to God, then I'm gliding, you know what I mean? And the day the day gets better. But I appreciate you as well, Rebecca, because you're committed to the task, and it's a blessing. You've been a blessing to me, so you have inspired me as well. So, but listeners, I appreciate you, and just keep on tuning in. I'm going to have more good, solid, inspirational topics for you. And if you want to add something to the podcast, I'm open for suggestions. Just reach out to me at sbfavorite@yahoo.com. You can also reach me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and also you can find me on YouTube. Please subscribe to my channel, and you will not miss an episode. But in the meantime, I will be preparing for something good soon. Thank you so much for listening and have a good day.